Hello and welcome. My name is Diana, and this is the Death Pile Diva Show. And guess what? I'm the Death Pile Diva. Yeah. Today I have an amazing, amazing guest. I'm so excited. She is a reseller and a friend. We have Aurora. Aurora, welcome.
Thank
Like,
you for having me.
yeah. So Aurora and I chit chat a lot on social
A
media
lot.
and Instagram. So yeah, so this is going to be I'm really excited. So it's going to be a friend convo and of course a death pile convo. As with every episode, I interview resellers about their death piles and give applicable advice if needed. Sometimes we just got to talk about it, you know. So, um let's see. First, yeah, let's just start with kind of the basics. Like how long have you been reselling? What types of items do you resell? You know, kind of like the usual spiel.
Well, I've been reselling since May of 2019. So I don't know the exact date that I started, but this month makes 5 years.
Oh
I
my
sell
God, it is five
mostly
years.
women's clothing. 5 years. I know it went by really fast. If I think
Okay.
about it too hard, I'm like, oh my goodness, because it coordinates with how old my children are getting,
Right.
um, and myself. Um, but 5 years. I sell mostly women's clothing and accessories, but I dive into everything. I've sold home. I have men's. I have lots of kids. I had more kids when I started. My kids were little, and I had tons of that. So I am a reseller of everything, anything that I want that's given to me or that I find fun that I want to grab. So
Yes. Awesome. Now, and of course, I know a lot about you, but yeah, so talk about maybe how you source, how you get your inventory, all that stuff.
okay, currently how I source. One of my biggest ones is every once in a while I will get a box from my cousin in California. She got wind a while ago that I resell, and she's been giving me just at her shipping cost. So I just pay to ship these big boxes, and she gives me the stuff from her family and her extended family and her friends. So I end up with a lot of like big mystery boxes that way. I also thrift. I thrift a lot. Um, in the past few years, that's been the other biggest one. Is I'd go with my mom a lot. So those are my main two. I have other friends that give me things. Of course, I get stuff from my family's personal closet, our home stuff, all of that. It comes from everywhere.
I like it. Yeah. You have a good mix. And I think a lot of viewers can relate to that too. Like we get a little bit from thrift, we get
Yeah.
some random stuff from family or friends or, you know, whatever it may be. So about, and
Mm-hmm.
also, spoiler for those watching, she has two closets. So, um, yeah, so I'm
Technically,
trying to be
three
cognizant of
now.
like all the stuff I know about you and make sure I'm not just like, so anyway, about your two, like,
We'll
yeah.
we'll go over it again. Yes. um,
Yeah, so
so
tell me
yeah,
about your two
I do
closets.
have two. Mhm. Yeah, so I have two closets, technically three now. So my main closet is called Aurora Catherine. It's the same as my Instagram. That is the name I had when I joined Poshmark in 2016 to purchase. Because no, it's not taken. My middle name is Catherine, not Catherine.
Yes.
So it's very unique, and that's just what I happened to pick, and I stuck with it because I thought it sounded unique enough. So that's my main closet. I decided last year, before I split my closet, I actually started one for my daughter that I've barely gotten going. Um, so that came first, but then I decided to split my main closet into two, where my Aurora Catherine is for all my items, $25 and up. And then I created what's called Aurora in the Attic, that is all of my items $24 and lower. And so I've split it. It's almost 50-50 now, with how much is in each closet. My daughter's closet is called Kidding Clothing. She came up with that. So that has all kids stuff right now, all girls at the moment. I'll probably add boys because I have some. But yeah, so that's how I've divided it up. I just hit Posh Ambassador 2 on my attic in the last month.
Oh,
I
nice.
started that one September 4th. So now I have two Posh Ambassador 2 closets. Um, and not a ton of sales on there yet. I think I'm still under 200 sales, but it's going.
Yeah.
So,
And especially
and
like
they
it
both
also,
have a mix of everything.
right. Okay. And I think that's a
Mhm.
really smart, especially if you have, well, actually, let me ask, how many active in each closet?
Uh, I could probably give you exact numbers right now. I have in Aurora, Catherine, I have 440 active. In the attic, I have 544 active.
Okay. Nice. I love it. I feel like
So,
Shark Tank. You're like, I know my numbers. I got this.
yeah,
Our
I'm
projection
a
is
little
this, right? Like,
obsessive with checking my stuff too much. I need to get off my phone. but but yeah, so and then my eBay, I have an eBay store, so that one is at 980.
okay.
But
Is
that's
that like,
because I have a particular type of item that has multi quantities that I've split up, and I have a little bit of it in each closet. So like I have more listings if you combine my two closets than just on my eBay, because I can do multi quantity super easy on my eBay.
right.
And that's my Athena's greeting cards. Not to go on a big tangent, but that's in my boutique. They are based off of their prints from coloring pages that my daughter did when she was 7 years old. So I sell brand new packs of thank you cards based off of those. And so those are in every closet. And there's a bunch of them.
That is
So that
so,
messes the numbers up a little.
I love that. I
Yeah.
just think that's adorable. Oh my gosh. Was that her idea or your idea?
It was mine and my mom's. I forget exactly who had the idea first. My mom sells them as well. And we bought a ton when she was 7. She's now 11. So this was, I think 2020 is when we got them printed. And we have not sold a lot, but they don't take up much space. And they're a really fun thing to have on hand. And if I ever run out of thank you cards, then I could just grab a pack
Right.
and use them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Or
But
even just
yeah,
like as a
yeah, I
bonus
think
gift or
maybe it
something.
was my mom's idea.
I love it.
Mhm.
I think that's really cool. Well, now for the, depending on your perspective, fun or not fun questions. Uh,
Right.
let's talk unlisted inventory. So what are we working with number wise unlisted? Even like spatial wise, like, kind of describe, yeah, like what is your
I do not, hmm, excuse me, I do not have the number in mind. So I know it's a lot, a lot. So I'll describe it in spatial terms.
and I was
I've
like,
never
sometimes it's
counted.
easier to be like this much.
So, and I can go over how I store my current inventory too and everything afterwards. You kind
Sure.
of get an idea. So I have this big bonus room that I'm in right now. That is my husband and my combo office. Okay. So I take up most of it, of course. um, so I have two rolling racks off to the side here that are full of unlisted, including shoes sitting on top of them because they have a nice surface for that. I have a bin in between it, and I have another display that I got for Christmas. Another big metal display that has shelving. That entire thing is full of stuff that is not listed. I have some bags around. So I have like this whole area. It's fairly well organized, but it is pretty full with a lot of stuff that's not available. On top of that, I want to say at least 6, maybe 8 black and yellow bins in my garage of unlisted. Some of that is consignment. That's another way that I get stuff. My best friend gives me a lot of her vintage items from her grandparents and her childhood. I have a lot of consignment with her. She's just like, whenever you get to it, it's fine. And so I have a lot of that. And then I have a storage unit up near my mom.
Okay.
So that's the most out of sight, out of mind, because it's literally an hour away. And that's because
Okay.
it's cheaper to store up there
Okay.
and way cheaper than down where I'm at. And my mom can utilize it too when she needs it.
Smart.
But that has a bunch of stuff from my dad. So when my dad passed away 2 years ago, we inherited all of his stuff. And my brother and my mom went out to California, because that's where I'm from, and went out to California to get all his affairs in order, get all his stuff. And they literally hauled it all back. And we're talking electronics, we're talking music equipment, speakers, huge speakers. I have so much of that kind of stuff in a storage unit that I have been very slow to touch. I have some of his stuff that has been listed and selling, and a little bit of it is here. But most of it's in the storage unit, and that's a really hard thing to tackle. But I'm going to have to
Absolutely.
eventually.
No, I am
So
so
it's
glad you brought that up. I think so many people, especially resellers, or sometimes people become resellers because they
Mhm.
inherit items, they inherit estates,
Yeah,
and it can be really complicated, especially when it's like
yeah,
your parents' stuff. If it has memories attached to
yeah,
it, or
yep,
just, or sometimes you're just like, well, no, like this is, I don't know, like my dad's book. And like, it's like that's it. Like end of story. Like it's his book.
right.
So that gets, and I think a lot of people can relate to that.
That kind of plays into how I got started reselling.
Mm,
Not because of my dad, but the falling into it because you inherited stuff.
mhm.
So it's kind of short tail from that. So the story is my mom was a reseller first. And it was because our mutual friend had lost her mother. And her mother was a kleptomaniac. Her mother had a house full of stuff she stole, brand new stuff, and tons of it. And there was nothing. It's been like from over the year, like years and years and years, right? Of this. So, and it was a tragic death. And our friend could not handle going through her mom's stuff. Couldn't handle it.
Right. Totally.
So my mom, who had once in a while sold on eBay, like when I was young, but not like we do now.
Right.
She was like, "Well, I'll take it and I'll sell it for you."
Mm.
So she got back on eBay. She joined Poshmark, and she started listing her stuff and giving her commissions, so she didn't have to deal with it. Back in 2018, and then I went on. My family started going on our debt-free journey. We started actually following Dave Ramsey in 2019. And my husband was military, and we started trying to get out of debt. And I saw that my mom had started selling, and I was like nervous because I'd never really done that. But I thought I'd give it a shot. So I started doing that listing on. I was on Poshmark first, and then very shortly after Macari, because I had joined both to purchase actually years prior, but I started listing on those two in 2019. And then I added eBay in 2020 because it was really intimidating and it's still confusing and it's very intricate. eBay is.
Yeah.
So that was added later and then so on and so forth. So I kind of fell into that,
Mm.
inspired by my mom. My mom fell into it. And then I was like, well, I'm going to utilize this starting with my family stuff. I was already an avid thrifter ever since I was little. Um, and yeah, I mean, I can go into how I got inventory back then, but it looks different than it looks now.
Right. Right.
Um,
No,
but
totally.
yeah, so
That
that's
is
how I started.
a very, and also I think just I was thinking how yeah, it's really hard to sell things of your loved ones. Especially if
Yeah.
you've ever gone to like a private estate sale where it's the family running it. It's,
Oh,
oh yeah.
yeah.
It's either
I'm sure that's
I
difficult.
it's either like really good deals because they just don't know what
Mhm.
anything is worth, or
Right.
they're like, oh no, that was her glass, that's $20. You're like, oh,
Yeah, they're putting an emotional price on it. Yeah,
exactly.
for
So
sure.
it's, yeah, it definitely helps to have someone else. I mean, that was an amazing gift of your mom to be like, don't worry, I got it. That's
She's still doing it. She's still doing it. Still sends her a check every month. Still has stuff from her.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That- She
So,
just sounds like an amazing woman. I mean, you both are,
and
so
then
it makes sense.
that's kind of what I do for my friend, my best friend Leanne too. Her grandparents passed. I sell her grandparents vintage items, and I give her the commission on that, so she doesn't have to deal with the mounds of stuff and
Right.
where does it go.
Right.
So
Totally.
yeah,
Okay. So we got a lot of stuff in the house, and then we have, right, the storage unit, which is like you and your mom kind of splitting it.
yeah, it's the dad stuff.
Okay. Right.
Yeah,
Right. Okay.
and then my garage.
And the garage. Right.
My office and my garage are the main ones.
So how do you feel? Because also I have finally come to realize um sometimes people like things, and it's taken me, it's like just different mentality than what I'm used to. Um, do you feel like do you like having the things around, or like how does it impact you? Like, does it give you happiness? Does it take from your happiness? Like,
A little of both. So I do like things. My husband would probably call me a hoarder, but I'm not a real hoarder, but but I do
excuse me,
like
they're in
stuff.
bins.
I have always liked things, which does not, that can be dangerous when you're reselling. So I do like stuff, but there is a limit.
Mhm.
Um, it does cause me stress once it's gotten to a certain level, and it definitely causes my husband stress because he doesn't like stuff as much as I do. So balancing that can be tricky. He graciously gave me this walk-in closet that's on his side of the office to store my listed inventory, or a big chunk of it. And then I have this other area that's our guest area that I've tried very, very hard not to put stuff in that's reselling related, but it always gets some overspill. Except for right now, I finally got it so I don't have anything in there except for empty hangers that's reselling related
All
right now.
right.
Like, it's just stuff that hasn't been put up nicely in there. But that was very hard.
Right.
So there is a point where it becomes very stressful, because I also know that it can stress my husband out, and that weighs on me. So I
Right.
do want to implement some better systems, and better rules for sourcing, and get myself to have a better revolving door than I currently have of stuff.
I love that image, the revolving door. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really like that. Sorry, I'm just like thinking like I can make a post with the door. Like my brain's like, yes, door. Okay. I've so many of my posts are inspired by our conversations, by the way. So like,
Really?
yeah.
That's amazing. I'd love for you to tell me which ones they are. I mean, you don't have to give me credit. It would be so fascinating to know
Oh
which
no.
ones like got put in your brain from
No,
me.
it's so fun. Like, yeah, so many, a lot of my conversations, but definitely, yeah, like right now I'm like, ooh, door, revolving door. That's really good. Okay, lock that away. Like, like, okay, so right, so we
I
don't
love
have
that.
a number. So also tell us, so you have quite a few jobs, let's say. So you are a busy woman. So you are a mom, which is a job in itself.
Yes,
Then you run like your closets, but then you also help your mom out with stuff.
yes. So I am a mother of two. They are 11 and 6.5 now. So I was a really young mom. That happened first, before I became a reseller. My kids were much smaller when that started. But I was a very young mom. And then ever since, I actually dropped out of college and had a part-time job for a while when I was pregnant, and couldn't keep it because I got too big too fast. But so my husband's let me stay home. That's a whole other story.
No,
I had some
pregnancy
big
just
kids.
like, yeah.
Um, yeah, I was a CNA. That's very hard to do when you're
Mm.
pregnant. At a nursing home, I was taking care of the elderly at
Oh
the
my
time.
gosh. Wow.
Um,
Wow.
but so that evolved into, I became a stay-at-home mom. My husband was like, "You can stay home." We were, he had he was a security guard, whatever. He was supporting us. My mom was also, so him and my mom were supporting my little family. Um, and then I was out of the workforce, and I didn't really have your typical job. I was a stay-at-home mom up until I started reselling, and then I was still a stay-at-home mom, but I was a reseller on the side. Is how I looked at it. It
Yeah.
wasn't a full-time income, still isn't. Uh, and then my mom offered me, because I was looking for a job. She offered me a position to help her with her business that she's been growing for almost a decade,
Ooh.
and no, almost 20 years, um, 2 decades. And so she has me working part time to help her with. She's an insurance broker, so I do a little bit of help with her insurance business,
Okay.
and then a little bit of help on her reselling side. So she'll have me update her inventory. I list stuff all the way from photographing to cross listing all of the items I have. She gives me stuff. So I also have a little death pile of hers. Right
Wow.
now, I have a couple bins that are hers. And I do that on the clock for her. Just today, I was working on cross listing a lot of stuff to her things. So, and she doesn't use a cross listing service, and she's on platforms that like that other people aren't on, like eBid and stuff like that. So I learned all of those. That's what I do part-time. And then when I'm done working for her for the day, I'm just right on to my stuff. And then I'm doing that up until I go and get my kids in the evening, and then home for dinner, get the kids to bed. You know, it is very busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So yeah, you have quite the responsibilities on your plate there.
yeah, it's a lot to juggle. Can be a lot to juggle
Yeah.
for sure.
I was just in previous interview saying like how women we do all the things. Like we right, like literally look at you. You're a mom with two kids, and then you help your mom with two of her businesses, and then you have your business. It's like
Right,
we just do all the things. Yeah. So,
right. Yep.
yeah. So first, like just recognizing like it's not that we're lazy or like some, like, oh, I didn't list, I'm lazy. Like, no, you're probably tired. Like you're probably exhausted from all the other
Yeah.
things you have to do. So it's not, you know, I would say rarely is like a death pile or not listing because of laziness. Like it can
Pure
be,
laziness. Yeah.
yeah, like clearly it's not like you're just sitting around like, hmm, look at that stuff. Like,
No,
look
no,
at
I'm working on it.
right, like look at those
But
clothes.
I've also done a lot of shopping.
Right, right. Which I'm sure probably brings a
Yeah.
little joy, right? Makes us feel good.
Yes, yes. It was definitely I'm one of those cases where it was an excuse to thrift. I
Mhm.
was already a thrifter, so it didn't help the thrifting.
No, I totally, yeah.
But I'm getting better.
So let's see. So we have a lot of unlisted inventory. Do we have room? Like if we list it, do we have a place for it? Or like can it kind of be recycled back into that bin or you know what I mean?
That is something that I'm always struggling with is I like to keep my listed inventory very separate from my unlisted. So the way I organize my listed, like I said, I have a small walk-in closet
Right.
and I organize by category. I don't do a bin system because that would overtake my garage probably, and it doesn't work in my office. So I utilize closets and cubbies. So I go by category. I have the walk-in closet with dresses, coats, and I got shoe boxes. Tip for resellers at Costco. They have these plastic shoe boxes that are magnetic and they open two different ways. They come in, I believe, packs of, I want to say four for like $40. No, maybe it's three for $40. I have those on top of the shelf in my closet full of shoes and even home stuff. It makes it so I can stack like
Right.
fragile things or things that you can't stack on top of each other. Those stack up.
I've
So
been looking just
I'll have to.
yesterday, I was looking on Amazon for something
Mhm.
exactly like this. But like everything on Amazon was either expensive or had bad reviews. So these were they like easy to put together?
Yeah, they were pretty easy to put together and they're clear so you can see what's in them.
Yes.
I'll send you a private photo later so you can see what they look
Nice.
like. But so I have that up there. And then I have, bins of consignment in that closet.
Okay.
Then I have cubbies over here, IKEA cubbies that have blouses, sweaters, pants, that kind of stuff. So I do it by category, and I can find things in seconds. I know where my stuff is. I don't need to label it. But I don't want to. I'm running out of room. I'm running out of room to put stuff away. So I get excited when I've sold something and I have just enough room in that category. That's the other problem with doing it by category is now I have to have when I sell something, I got to list something in the same category or it's going to mix with other stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
To
Okay.
refill. It's not just I'm numbering this and sticking it in a bin and throw it in the bin, no matter what it is. So I do struggle with that. Let me see. I was thinking I am going to have to utilize my racks for listed eventually. Unless my sales keep going as I list and I just have the room to not do that. But if I have to, they will transform from unlisted to listed racks. And that's just fine because there's always going to be something hanging on them. They're not going anywhere. But the
Right.
bins in the middle of the room or bags in the middle of the room, I want those to get put away somewhere so I'm not perpetually like, that's a permanent bag of inventory right there. I don't like that idea.
Yeah. Well, let me
So,
ask, do you
so
know
yeah,
what's in all those bins and bags?
I
Or
do.
okay.
Well, there is one bin that I can give you an idea, but I'd have to look through it again. So down in my garage, I cannot tell you exactly what's in those. Up here, I know pretty much what's up here.
Okay. Let's see. I'm thinking. So what would be like where would you be comfortable, happy? Like what vision like in your office now and your listed inventory and unlisted inventory, like what vision, I guess, would make you happy and comfortable and not anxious and stressed?
Let's see. Um,
And I'm like, that's a deep
well,
question.
I'd like to
Take your
not
time.
have, if I cannot have bins and bags, like I said, no bins and bags sitting in the middle of my office,
Mhm.
minus what I have from my mom that I'm literally clocking in to do for her, and then it goes back to her when I'm done with it. Minus those bins, my own, or consignment for, my friend.
Mhm.
I don't want those to always be in the middle of the room. I'd like to get to a point, I like to slow down on sourcing enough that I can get to a point where all of my unlisted is on one of these displays. I have such great racks that hold.
You
That
do.
reminds me of when you told me, look at her racks. Um,
Aurora has
I have
great
great
racks, guys.
clothing
I'm
racks.
serious though. Like she really
I have
does.
great racks. So I do. I love my. I gotta send you a picture. Or I can. I don't know if I can show viewers. But I love these. I found these on Marketplace, and they're a permanent thing in my office.
Right.
I'd love for those to be full of inventory, unlisted, and I move them out when they're listed, and I just keep going like that, and it doesn't end up on the floor. Ending up, it's in a bin, not like literally on the floor, but
Right.
in a bin or a bag on the floor. It's just like, oh, I have too much. This isn't a nice looking, flow of stuff, and I just want it to look more put together. Um, Numbers wise, I don't know what that looks like. Like as far as how big of a closet I want to keep, it's
Mhm.
all what I can put away nicely. That's all it depends on. And
Okay.
I try to stay within 1,000 total listings because of my eBay store. If I can just avoid paying to list something above that, then
Yes.
that's great. And that's probably big enough.
Yeah. No, I
So that's what it depends on. Just things in and out nicely,
okay.
and it doesn't create a mess, and I can fit it away.
Okay.
That's what I want.
Okay. I like it. Yeah, because we have two. Yeah, it's actually kind of the way you're describing it, kind of similar to, especially when I do like now I don't really do clothing as much, but that's really how I
Right.
would judge. Like I have two racks, and when
Mm-hmm.
one of them was empty, I'm like, okay, time to go sourcing. So like I always, yeah, it's impossible to have like no unlisted inventory. That's not healthy for a business. Like we don't want that, right?
And,
But we
and you
want to
made a great
have
post about that.
right
Mm-hmm.
like that constant cycle of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, so I like that idea of like these are the two racks. Yeah, like when they're full, okay, we don't source, we just list it. When we have room, we can source, add
Mm-hmm.
more stuff. Okay, so I like that we have an end idea, which is huge. So now we just have to figure out, all right, these bins and bags. Now I know we've already talked about, I was like, well, what about a yard sale? But a yard sale
Yeah.
doesn't always,
We did talk about that.
right. I think you said like, and sometimes it might be your neighborhood or like your HOA or your, the like there's so many reasons why people can't have yard sales or don't want
I
to.
have a few reasons why I'm not, me personally, my driveway doesn't
That's it.
condone a good yard sale because it's in the back. And I've done yard sales before I was a reseller, and they always tank for me, always. And it's so much work to haul it all out and haul it back in to make $10 or to make nothing,
Yeah,
I'd rather donate it,
totally. Yeah.
honestly.
No.
But I love going to them, always have. So I'll support everybody else's yard sales. A little less right now. I haven't gone to any yet this season. I haven't got any yard sales. But when I'm comfortable yard sailing again, I'll be there.
Yeah. War is
So
coming for you. All you yard sales.
yes,
No, I know. I'm kind of I am planning yard sale. But yeah, they're so ugh, like
it's a good thing we don't live near each other because I would be there, Diana. I would be at your yard sale.
yeah, there is some, it's a lot of baby stuff now and just I don't know, whatever. But there is definitely some inventory that I'm like, I just don't
Yeah.
want you anymore. Get out of my house.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's see. So, and I know you have gone to like a, was it Plato's or like a BST, to like,
Yeah, I go to Plato's.
okay.
Um, and I just went to Plato's last week, sold them a few things, and I went to shop because it was 90% off. But the 8 things I sold paid for my entire purchase. So that was a win. But I do also, so I didn't spend any money. I've just used up my space again.
Right.
But but I do also go to a kids buy sell trade store near me called Little Giggles. I don't think it's a big chain. I've never heard of it anywhere else, but definitely I recommend those to other resellers for kid stuff. I don't get cash when I go there anymore. I get for credit, but I got kids, so I just turn around and use it for my own family, and it gets stuff out of my way a little bit because I get donations from a friend who has grandkids, and I get hand-me-downs from them. So not my kids' size; they're little, smaller than my kids. And sometimes I'll sell them, sometimes I'll take them to the buy sell trade, and then turn it into clothes for my children. So I do utilize that. I'm trying to utilize Plato's even more.
Mhm.
I mentioned to you the other day that I went through my big display rack and cleared out a bunch that I thought were not worth listing. So I've noticed a lot of other resellers will um, they'll actually comp while they're sourcing, and I typically don't do that. Sometimes on some things, but a lot of the times I'm flying by the seat of my pants and I'm going with my gut,
Mhm.
and my gut's getting better. But uh, I and when I get things from family and friends, I don't know automatically. I have to look it up. I end up with a lot at once because it's given to me,
Right.
and I have to go through and see if it's worth listing. So my standards for listing are getting pickier as I go. I used to list
Good.
everything, everything, and I still am trying to break that habit because it can still be saved without me listing it, right? Because I
Absolutely.
like to save stuff. So I did clear a bunch that way, and I have a full bag again to go to Plato's, and I'm going to go this week on Friday. And so that freed up more space for me to move from one rack to another rack and start the revolving
Yes,
door a
yes.
little bit,
Oh yeah.
a little faster. And that was a relief because if I'm going at a snail's pace, it really weighs you down. It mentally, like the stress can be real bad, even though, you're doing this for a reason and it's not just, I'm a hoarder. Like, I'm not a hoarder, but I'm going a little too slow that it's starting to feel like it.
Right.
So that definitely helped to definitely utilize Plato's. I
Nice.
used to not know what they would want.
Mhm.
Um, my very first experience with Plato's was they used to pass out those cards telling you the kind of stuff they're looking for. And I gave them a bag of that. This was before I was a reseller. I was just trying to get money for my family,
Right.
um, and get rid of my stuff. And they didn't take a single thing. And I
Right.
didn't understand it.
Thank you.
And yeah. But every Plato's was run different. And then I, started seeing people say, keep trying, go again, because you're going to get maybe a different person the next time.
True.
And it's
Right.
really up to who's looking through your bag. Um, so I've started doing that. If something doesn't sell, I'll hang on to it for a few more trips. And that happened with one item. I pulled it back thinking, okay, I'll just list this because it was new with tags, even though it was a brand that I can't sell to save my life for much. And so I put it back on the rack for me to list. And then it was sitting on my rack. And I was like, I haven't even gotten to this item yet. Put it back in the bag. Let's just try it again. They bought it this time. Months later, they bought it. So now it's gone. So don't give up on Plato's, people.
That
Keep
is such a
keep
good point.
going back. You never know what they're going to take.
I love to hear
And so
that.
I've gotten better about that. And shop their 90% off sales if you have the room.
No
Because
kidding.
those
Yeah.
are good. But yes, so I did get some stuff moving in the
Okay.
door.
Nice. No, that's awesome. So, and then, because I'm thinking, okay, so we're in May, like early May. Um, how much, maybe, I don't know, estimate, do you have a lot of summer stuff in the bins and the bags and bins?
I do have a lot of shorts that I have not listed yet from Plato's. I have a lot of shorts. So there is that. I did just do a ton of swimwear. Those are up though.
Yes.
I got through that in 1 week. I was like, I am not letting this many pieces sit.
Right.
And I really wanted to find a way to be efficient with that venture. I guess for people watching, I bought from another reseller, so I didn't go directly to the wholesaler, but I bought from another fellow reseller, oh yeah, Rachie on Instagram and YouTube, and got 80 pieces of swimwear from her. And so that was my first experience buying that much at once. I'm usually I pick through the thrift stores. I don't do liquidation.
That's a big change.
I want to. But, so I tried that, and I know my death pile is massive. So I wanted to take this as a challenge. This was a venture from myself and my mom. We went together on it. And I prioritized that over everything else to see if I can come up with systems to efficiently get this listed. And then it kind of was a taste test on, am I going to be able to handle getting boxes later, to keep on top of them and not just create another death pile of liquidation stuff. So I think I did pretty good. It was 80 pieces, and I worked my butt off last week, and they're all listed. Got that done within a week. And normally I don't list 80 pieces in a week. So that was a good experiment.
Yeah, like, hey.
So I do have a little bit of summer left, but I also have a lot of fall, a lot of coats that are just hanging around. But list all year long. If I run out of summer stuff, list the coats. You never know.
So random. I got last year got a Michael Kors nice little wool kind of like trench coat thing. It's really cute. I had it listed. I thought it sold, and then I see it in my closet. I'm like, well, that's weird. And I checked my Vendu. It didn't sell. I checked all my platforms. It didn't sell, but somehow it's gone. And yeah, I'm like, oh my God, so I have to list it, but it's like so hot right now and I don't want to. That's just gonna, I don't know, like it's so heavy. Like I don't want to list it right now. And I already listed it, so I'm just mad. Like, where did that listing go? But anyway, yeah, I was like, what the heck? Okay, so you said, a lot of fall and winter. But yeah, people live, different climates than us. So
exactly.
Alaska, whoever. Like, I think once I sold a pair of snowboarding pants to Hawaii. Like people go on vacation. Who knows what's happening?
People in Hawaii go on vacation too, probably to snow country.
Just can you imagine like
maybe we're tired of living in paradise. Who knows?
We're leaving Hawaii to go on vacation. That sounds insane. That is really funny. Oh my gosh! Like
so I have a lot of stuff that's not seasonal though. Like I have a lot of jewelry to list. Oh my gosh. And that's just year round. So that I could list whenever. I have a lot of I'm getting more into plush. I have a lot of plush, and that's whenever. Kids' birthdays, Christmas, that could Valentine's Day, all year round. So that's not seasonal. So I have plenty that doesn't really matter what season I'm in to list for sure. But yeah, I do have a lot of summer I can get to.
Yeah, especially since you organize by category. I think it would be if you like went through your bins, was like, okay, like it's shorts time, and like grabbed all the shorts and then just sat down. Was like, blah, blah, And
I might do that. I've kind of done that, but I might get more. I might dive more into in the bin. Like I've kind of left because I ran out of room on my racks. I should reorganize it again, and I love to reorganize. So reorganize it again and pull out all the shorts, all the sports bras, because I still have a few left. I tried to get all of my activewear up in January, but some trickled in here and there that didn't make it. But yeah, that's a great idea, is just go ham on that. And then if I can kind of put into place how I did the swimwear, granted they were all the same brand, so that made it even easier. But if I'm doing literally all shorts, it would make, because when I get going on photographing, I'll be caught up for hours bulk photographing. Like I go.
So I remember you were like, I finished. I was like, what? Oh my God.
Yeah. But and then I'm burnt out for days. And I'm like, why did I do that? I have no balance. No balance, Diana. Which is hilarious. as a Libra, I have zero balance. Okay.
Yes.
Maybe that's just the way we are. We're always like this. Like there's
I think
no balance.
I'm trying to think of the Libras I know. And you know what?
It's a scale.
Yeah,
We're a scale and we're never balanced out.
right.
I'm never balanced out. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is really funny. Oh my
But
gosh.
yes, I will do that. I will do that. I will do shorts.
Yeah, because
I
then
will
you can
pull out
like
shorts next
pull, and yeah, like
because it's
essentially
getting hot.
making, right, like making
Mhm,
a box for yourself. And then I was thinking if, because I know like storing listed inventory can be,
mhm,
but I've actually started doing this because with purses, they're big. And when I
mhm.
first started, I was like, oh crap, like where am I gonna put all the listed and the unlisted? But now I essentially like I have a bin of unlisted bags. I take them out and then I that becomes my listed. And then like as I list them, I just put them right back in there. So my unlisted bin now becomes my listed bin kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yes. That
it wouldn't like eliminate the bins, but they'd be
they'd at
listed.
least they'd be organized still. They would continue to be organized. Yes.
Yes.
That can if I can list at a pace where I can tackle that because one bin holds a lot of stuff.
Mm.
Lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And then if I'm only getting through a portion of that bin, now I have a bin that's half unlisted, and then I got listed stuff that's got nowhere to go. So it's maybe if I keep one bin, I should probably keep one empty bin revolving on hand for when I've run out of space in my other stuff. Because sometimes we go through lulls where the sales dip and things just aren't moving out of my cubbies fast enough.
Right.
One empty bin to do that. To then I go from I take a chunk, I list it out of the unlisted bin, it goes into the listed bin, and then I freed up the bin once I've gone through it. Right, that would be a good
Yeah.
compromise
I
on
like
that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bags take up a
absolutely.
lot of space, but when I've got a bin of shorts, that's going to be a lot more shorts in those size bins.
Yeah. You gotta
So
have, yeah,
yeah,
like
I'll keep that in mind.
yeah, finding the shorts when they sell might be a little like, oh my God, but but it's
Yeah,
okay.
right now I have them in a cubby, but I only have one cubby designated for shorts. So I might switch it in my brain and I'm just gonna go ham on shorts, I think, because
Yeah. Yeah, I always
it's the prime time
try.
and I'll find a new way to put them away.
Yeah, and honestly, that's kind of part of it is just, especially, I love that you categorize things. It's got like how my brain works too. Like, I just will look at my rack. Even, I mean, it can be logical like that, like a category. Or sometimes I'm just like, let's do all the green. I have three green. Like, it's just so random. Like anything that makes my
I
brain go,
tried
this makes
oh,
sense. You know,
I
like,
tried doing it that way. Like people will list seasonally. I would list seasonally by color a little bit, but that can make things trickier for doing bulk listing and photographing. But around Valentine's Day, I'm like everything red, pink, purple
mm,
is going on the rack and I'm listing that stuff. But then it's a bunch of different types of things. And then I get all excited about it, but then it actually slows me down on listing. Because now I have
right,
some shirts, I got some pink pants, I got a purse. But but it's gonna sell right now because Valentine's Day is
right.
so my brain does want to do that sometimes. I tried to do green for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
So
Or
that,
even
that can be
sometimes
tricky.
I'll
It's much
like
easier to do.
finally just kind of force myself. I'm like, okay, those four pieces on the rack that have been there for 2 months, you're listing those. Like, list the items you hate today. Like, I'm like, okay, are my hated items? Here they are. Okay, let's go. Like any
Nice.
form of
Yeah.
category. If you're like, these all suck.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
this
my
is
goodness.
terrible. Snap.
Oh man.
I like that. About, do you know, like, let's see, under 20 shorts, over 20 shorts?
Oh, maybe over. Maybe over.
Yeah.
I just bought
About,
a few more Play-Dohs, 90% off too. So I might have 20 shorts.
yeah. I think, and then you,
Yeah.
so, like, once you, and you probably found like with the swim, once you sit down to like photograph, it's boom, 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 like the same. And
Yep.
actually, speaking of Rachel from Oh Yeah, Rachie, she has a very similar system. Like, she, will sit
Mhm.
down with like a stack of jeans or blouses or like whatever it is and just power through those because
Yeah.
limited time, etc. And it can,
I feel like it is much easier when
yeah,
you're doing them all the same way if it's flat lay or you're doing
exactly.
everything on your. yeah, like stick to one. You've mentioned that too, and I've tried that. And then, but for a while I was modeling my stuff. And so then
Mm,
I went through this phase where I would bulk model photograph. I'd line up a bunch of stuff that I thought would fit me in my inventory, or fit me well enough to get away
right.
with the cover photo. Like I have squeezed into a size 4 once that didn't zip up the side, but you can't tell because you're
Oh
not
yeah,
looking at my side for the
so
cover.
many open backs.
But so I would pull out a bunch of stuff that I think I could model, and I would go crazy on cover photos, and then I would have to go back and do all of the
Mm,
either flat lay or hanging and measurements. So it was still bulk, but
yeah,
it's much easier if I'm just doing literally all flat lay, or I'm doing all hanging, or whatever it
right.
is. I know modeling can be really good, like for Depop and stuff, and it's fun. It can be fun. Um, but I've fallen off of doing that because it can slow me down. Uh, but yes, doing everything similar categories in the same fashion on photographing is really the best way to do it.
Yeah. You know, similar for me with modeling. Like especially when I had a lot of plus size clothes, I would model them. And I just, yeah, I slowed myself down because I just didn't like how I modeled it. So I was like, oh gosh,
Right.
like,
Hmm.
but no, like you said, especially for Depop,
Yeah.
I find like, yeah, you gotta be like all cool and like funky.
Yeah. I haven't even figured out how to sell on Depop as good as some other people.
Oh my gosh.
Um, but I haven't given up. I thought I'd given up, and I haven't given up.
Good
I
for you.
restarted.
I gave up on Depop
But
for the
yeah,
third
with
time.
modeling, yeah, yeah, it's like the yeah. I deleted everything and was like, I'm done. And then like maybe a couple of weeks later, something I was like, I'm not done. I want to list stuff again.
I'm
I can't
back.
watch other people list on Depop and me not do it. It's so hard.
No,
But
seriously.
modeling, yeah, modeling something you have to. I feel like you need, if you're feeling inspired to do it and you're in a good mood, and it's really fun to just do it for an hour, throw music on, do it for an hour, then great. But I'm trying not to slow myself down by pressuring myself to model. If I don't feel like modeling, then that's fine. Just do it a different way today, or you're not going to do it at all. you know?
Absolutely. Such a
So
good point. Hmm.
yeah. And you can go back and add a model photo later if you really think the item could use it.
True. You're
Yeah.
so right.
Just a cover photo.
Right.
So
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, actually, that's a great point. Like, I'll list the item and I'm like, you know what, my cover photo, oh, maybe I should model it. And, then I have two options too. And I like to see like which one gets
yeah.
more attention kind of thing.
Yeah, my favorite was dresses.
Hmm.
I really liked modeling dresses, especially long ones. They're so hard to see on photos, even on a dress form, because then it's just laying on the floor
Right,
if you
right,
don't, unless you have like a really tall dress.
right.
um, so, or like doing videos, I don't do them all the time, but sometimes when I would model something, if I felt like, oh, this has good movement, or oh, it's
Mhm.
shimmery, like I need to do a quick video too, and then I'll do a model photo, then a video, boom, boom, when I'm on my phone, and then I take it off and do the next one, and then I'll upload those, separate. So that's another thing you can just, when you could do later if you're inspired to, like, this needs a video because you can't see the material or the way it moves or something. You can always throw that in later. I'm
That
trying
is,
not to get bogged down with that stuff anymore, but
yeah,
and just add some pizzazz if it needs it down the road.
that is such, and
Because
actually,
like I've seen people say,
yeah,
it's better done than perfect.
right,
So
absolutely. I am listed like 90% of the swimwear like off the bat. And then I just had like 10% like just kind of hanging out waiting for me. And I was like, oh gosh, I was gonna get cover photos and all this stuff. And it turns out I don't really need them. Like I was like, let me just list everything, get it up there. I'll add the photos later, the cover photo, stock photo I meant. A stock photo later. And like I think I'm good without them. Um, I'll probably add for some, but I definitely kind of accidentally saved myself a lot of time by just like, just get them up. And like you said, then you can add the pizzazz later if it needs a better cover photo, if it needs a video, if it needs a better description. Like you said, add it later, but just get it up there because sometimes you don't need it.
yeah,
So
if it takes you more than like a Google Lens search to find the cover photo for one item, just move on.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Like it's not
or,
there.
like with the swimwear, I was able to go on the website and get a lot of the stock photos. And then I found some on Poshmark. I would just search the item on Poshmark, and if it came up, great. And if I couldn't find it, I have some that don't have it. I'm not even going to stress
Right.
about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a waste of time at that point to go hunting for a cover photo.
Right.
So
Like it's okay. They can, especially a swimwear, like I know what I know how a bikini fits. Like I get it.
right,
Like,
right.
okay, not too hard. Awesome. Well, I feel excited for you. How do you feel?
I feel good. No, I've been feeling much better recently. Even before this, have been a huge inspiration for getting through my stuff. I can't even remember when I started following you. I think it's been years now. I know since before baby. I've been following you since Sasha videos.
Right. Right. Oh my
Um,
gosh. It has been a long
so
time.
maybe before you even announced your pregnancy on Instagram. Same with, oh yeah, Rachel. I've been following her for years before she was married, before she was
Oh my
pregnant. She's the
gosh.
reason I joined List Perfectly. I used her code in like 2021
Oh my
to join
gosh.
List Perfectly, and I've been on it ever since.
That
I
is
used
so
her,
cool.
oh yeah, code. So I've like lost track of time. So I mean, but it's you two are two of my most, I think, inspirational Instagram people I follow.
It means a lot to be.
Like personality wise, tips, you're fun, and it's helped keep me going without me feeling. A lot of other ones just in general on your feed will make you compare yourself way too hard against, you know, and it can, even though they're giving good tips, but I'm like, I'm getting so many tips from so many people, and it's up to me to take them or not take them. Like it's not their fault, but
Right.
I get weighed down with it. But not from you guys, not from you guys. I really do
So that means a
try
lot.
and take a lot of what you say.
Yeah, because I know
And
exactly what you
so
mean.
I've definitely more energized more recently to list stuff, and I am still sourcing, but I think I think my burnouts are less
Mhm.
right now, and I'm I'm getting a little bit pickier when I go out, like, and that helps a lot. I used to come back with tons of stuff from the thrift store, and I am getting pickier because I got plenty. Like I'm not desperate for
Right.
inventory. Um, and I want to be able to thrift again without feeling like I have to get everything because I'm out of stuff to list. I don't ever want to feel like that, but I also don't want the guilt of, oh, I already have enough. Like, so because right now there's a lot of that, but because it is super fun. But
Totally.
yeah, so I'm definitely motivated to
Yay.
rework what I'm going to list next now that I'm done with the swimwear.
Awesome.
I'm probably going to try another live again because it's been months.
Yeah.
My lives don't get a ton of people, but I have been able to clear out some stuff with
That's
them
awesome.
in live sales past. So those are always a good thing. Uh, I know some people don't like them. I was kind of hesitant to try them too because I wasn't sure if I would be good at it. But they can be fun. They are tiring though. Um,
Yeah.
they take a lot out of you. um,
That's exhausting.
but definitely going to try that again. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So
awesome. Yay. Well, thank you so much for just having an official conversation with me. We talk all the time, but
yeah.
never video recorded. So thank you so much
Any,
for
did
coming
we
on the
cover
show.
everything? Any other questions?
Yeah, right? Yeah,
I
I
know
mean,
I'm a rambler, so sorry.
no, I mean, like, I love talking to resellers and I love, yeah, just like chit chatting. Because how also, since we are all self-employed and all work by ourselves, it's like can be really lonely sometimes. So just to talk
Yeah.
to each other and like talk shop that's not via texting or something like I just get a kick out of it. So thank you for coming on the show and sharing
Yeah,
yourself
thank
and
you for having me.
being honest and vulnerable. I really appreciate it. And I think a lot of people are going to relate to you. And definitely everyone watching,
Oh,
go
cool.
follow
Great.
Aurora on Instagram, follow
Aw,
her
thank
Poshmark
you.
closets. And yeah, I'll have all the info down here in the description or
Yeah,
click.
my link is on my Instagram. So you don't
Perfect.
got to go searching for everything.
That's the best.
Find my Instagram, you found it all.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Thanks for having me too.
Of course, of course. Well, I will see you on the Instagram, and to everyone else, I will see you next week when I talk to another reseller and more death piles. See you later.